I want to talk about an interesting thing that I saw in this article. There's a few interesting things that I saw in this article. But one of them was my initial thought upon opening this and reading it was, one, why? And two, was this is a thing that men want to do because they're insecure. And that's where my immediate thought went. Men want to do this because there's no practical, if there's no reason for it, like, there's nothing quote unquote wrong with them, but it's something that they want to improve to feel better about themselves, right? That was just my initial narrow-minded thought process. Mm-hmm. And I read the article, and one of the first testimonials was a guy who wanted to nutmax. There's got to be a better word for this. A guy who wanted to nutmax for his girlfriend because she was into it. And I was like, oh, dummy, open your brain. But there was something here that I found really interesting. I want to talk to you about it. And I'm going to read this to you first because, one, it was a little funny. And I'll tell you why. I laughed. I laughed at this. So this says, this is about Mike, 27 years old, who began trying to increase the size of his ejaculations in 2021 after seeing an ad for Semenax pills on a porn site. So he says, quote, "Of course I'm like, this is just bullshit," he says. But then I started reading a Reddit about it. I was just going on like, what are these supplements doing? Then he says, quarantine with his college girlfriend in her parents' beach house, there wasn't much to do but have sex. Mike, who, like others in this story, asked to use just his first name to protect his privacy, which is another thing we're going to talk about, struggled to keep up with her libido and desired to be ejaculated upon. Quote, "I feel drained. I feel exhausted. I feel like I can't satisfy this girl," Mike remembers thinking. "After once or twice a day, not much is coming out." So he turned to supplements. Probably for like 6 months, I was experimenting with just different stacks, combinations of supplements I would read about on Reddit, Mike says. A couple things about that paragraph there. Mm-hmm. It's interesting to me that he says, I feel drained. I feel exhausted. I feel like I can't satisfy this girl. It was, first of all, that was funny to me because just the thought of him, someone who's 27 years old, just going like this stress of going, please, no more, I can't do anymore.
Like
and then trying
in Futurama.
Yes, yeah, death by snoo.
Yeah.
And I just, the in my brain, I created this scenario of this 27-year-old who can't complain to his 27-year-old friends because he's this is what we all wanted. And I got it. And no, it's not what I want. And just him saying there's nothing left, I'm just spent, was funny to me. But then beyond that, him saying that I feel I'm exhausted, I'm drained, I feel like I can't satisfy this girl was so sad.
Does he have COVID? Like, and I'm not saying that to be a smart aleck, but like, there's a couple things I want to touch on there, right? Like, one is, it is funny. It is also a reality, right? Like, it is a really, really common experience where there is this narrative, this story, this social convention that we've decided that men are just all about it, and they always want to be doing it, and they just, anytime they're ready. And it's like, that's not reality. That's not, men aren't a monolith any more than any other group is a monolith. But there is that pressure to be sexually virile and to be ready to go and apparently to be able to put Spider-Man-like webs out every time you ejaculate, regardless of how many times a day you're having sex. It is a pressure that is a really, really common anxiety trigger for men sexually.
And the easiest thing to do in my brain, which is the hardest thing to do, the best way to handle this, which I understand is so difficult, like I can put myself in Mike's shoes, easiest thing to do is just talk about it. Mm-hmm. Just say, hey, I feel XYZ thing, this is tough. But I can also understand going, oh, that's a nightmare.
Sure.
But this reminds me actually of, and follow me here, stay with me. This
Okay.
reminds me of working in a movie theater. Hear me out.
I'm waiting for the journey.
We're going on the journey right
Okay.
now. Strap in. When I worked in a movie theater in a resort town at the beach, during the summers, we were never super busy during the summer because everyone was at the beach. However, when it rained, people who came down with their families didn't have much else to do. We were one of the only movie theaters in town, so they would often come in and just flood our movie theaters. Entire families, kids, they come in to see movies. And this was an extra double issue when we had a popular movie out. So we would just get overwhelmed with people coming in. And everyone, of course, wants popcorn. And they would come in and they would just get popcorn. And we had our popcorn popper, and we had a couple other reserve popcorn holders that we would have that we pull from when the popcorn kettle, whatever it's called, couldn't keep up. Well, we would get so busy that we would run out of everything. And the popcorn can only make popcorn so fast. And people would come up to us and they were like, we want popcorn. And I'm like, well, we don't have any. We've given out so much popcorn and we can only make so much at a time. And people be like, but we want more popcorn. Popcorn. I'm like, yes, but you got to wait for more popcorn to be made before more popcorn can come out.
Right.
So it just made me think of this guy, Mike, who, he's saying his girlfriend wants, she has a high libido and a desire to be ejaculated upon. There's two options here. She could have been being unreasonable, or he could have been in his own head thinking that he's disappointing her when he's really not, because she understands there's only so much popcorn you can make. So do you see how I got there with
I get it.
Okay.
Popcorn is semen in this analogy.
Semen is popcorn. So it made me think of why communication is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And why education is so important, because it's important for her to understand there's only so much he can do. There's only so much there's only so much popcorn in the machine. And for him to communicate that, and maybe he was just in his own head and she was like, yeah, I know. If you just, okay, so you don't have any popcorn. Do you have what was the candy? Squirms? Remember those?
Yeah.
Do you have so I think the communication and education are so important for things like this, because so many issues can be addressed by just talking about it, and then you wouldn't have to go on Reddit and look for supplements that you don't know what's...
Well, and right, it's multifold, right? Communication every time. Every time I'm going to go, we got to learn how to talk about this stuff. We have to learn how to strip the shame away so that we can have a conversation that isn't rooted in a fear of emasculating oneself by saying I there's no more to give. Right? That's a normal thing to have happen if you have a lot of sex in a very short period of time. The volume is going to go down. The machine can't keep up, so to speak. The popcorn machine.
Yes, the popcorn machine. Yes. Thank you.
But there's also so communication every time and education every time, because supplements, okay, but supplements after a conversation that it is something everybody wants. Does this guy even want it? It's not clear in the way that he describes his experience that this is something he wants to be doing.
Right.
He describes it as a solution to a problem he has made up in his head. He did not confirm it with his partner, as far as we can tell in this story, that she felt some kind of way about the volume of his ejaculate. Just a thing that he decided he needed to do. And that there weren't any alternatives discussed. There are a couple of lubricant brands that make a lubricant that has a similar viscosity, and they put it looks like cum. The point of it is that it looks like cum. And the idea is that it can contribute to the experience of cum play if ejaculate is maybe not part of your sex play, or if You want a more, like an increased aesthetic of like a higher volume of cum, for instance. You can supplement with lubricant, which is a great tool to have in the bedroom anyway. So, but that wasn't part of the conversation. And so I'm not here to give a yes or a no on supplements. But I do think that for Mike in this case, like there was so much room to just have a conversation. And also like, if you feel drained and exhausted, it doesn't sound like you're just talking about the amount of cum. Like this is a larger conversation to have with someone. And like think about all of the kinds of sex play that you could be having that maybe don't involve the need to ejaculate. That like with the goal of sex play being like pleasure and restoration rather than like getting to the end and being like, I'm out. Like